Good evening, everybody out there. It's time for the Daily Wrap. Today was Monday, the 25th of March, 2024, and RPG Overload continued. What that means is that I've now returned to full-time gaming, and I'm continuing my push to finish Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon Infinite Well. I have some important updates for everyone tonight, because today was a good day of progress, but at the same time, a day of a lot of frustration for me in Baldur's Gate, while it was almost the opposite of that in Like a Dragon. So let's talk. Podcast today was just a chill one, meaning I didn't have too much to really talk about. We brainstormed a little bit further about what things to do, for example, during my upcoming birthday marathon. We talked and did some Q&A, answered some questions. It wasn't a very serious, heavy podcast of any kind of major information or development or anything, of the sort. It was more of a laid back show for sure. By the way, once again, I believe I must have kicked my camera today when I was streaming. It happens all the time. Anyway, so good podcast, chill time, and then we went into Baldur's Gate 3. Now, there's good news and bad news about Baldur's Gate 3 today. The good news is I made progress, and basically I did exactly what I had set out to do in Baldur's Gate 3. I finished the the Steel Watch Foundry, and I took on Gortash. Okay? My intention was that by the end of today's stream, hopefully I would have finished both, and I was assured it would happen. Like, there's no way. Today was the biggest bug-filled stream of Baldur's Gate 3 that I have had since the day I started playing it in December. Over 130 hours of gameplay. This was the bug fest, okay? Just to give you a few examples of the weird bugs I encountered. A critical person who is supposed to be a part of the Steel Watch plotline, who you rescue early on in the Steel Watch plotline, wanted to follow me into the room with the big engine or whatever to shut it down. I said, okay, but I got a long rest first. I long rested. He disappeared from the game. Then people looked it up and said, oh, actually what happens is they spawn him back at your camp. Why? Why isn't he still at Steelwatch? It doesn't make sense he'd be at camp. So I get him out of camp. I said, come follow me. He glitches completely. He stands still, won't move. There's nothing we can do. We can't talk to him. We can't move him. We can't do anything. Nothing changes this. He's just glitched infinitely in the environment. He won't come with me till the final part of Steelwatch. Great. I ended up having to do Steel Watch in a different way. I didn't want to do it that way. But I was like, hey, if there's any collateral damage or something goes wrong, I can't help it. The game screwed up. Okay, that's number one. Then I went back to camp at one point, and all the dialogue at camp was pertaining to like stuff that already happened. Like, for example, Will says he has a conversation. I talked to him. He's like, oh my God, we're flooding with water, and my dad's in here. We got to save him. Will, we're at camp. What are you talking about? This is the dialogue that would have triggered if I'd taken him into the Iron Throne. But it glitched, and it totally played at completely the wrong time. Okay? Then, here's another one. I'm going into Steelwatch, and the whole first room has, like, these guys down there, and some look like they may be enemies. It's not sure yet. Some are definitely allies, but I'm like, I'm going to try to do this stealth. I'm going to sneak by everyone. Try not to aggro anyone. See if I can get to the end. Maybe I can just do it without having to do a single fight. I go into the next room, and a fight ensues. There's no way to get past them. But then the game decides at the same time it wants to trigger a fight back in the first room. Even though I'm not involved with that room and never triggered anybody, the game just decides to do it anyway. I guess it's some weird coding thing. So now the camera's going from this room to that room to 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 this room to that room. You have no idea what's going on. Okay? The actual a turn bar is glitching. It has turns that are disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing and disappearing. And I'm saying to everyone, what's going on? They're like, yeah, there's fights going on in 2 rooms and the game can't keep track of them. So it doesn't know what's going on and the bar's glitching and everything. I'm like, I can't do it like this. I can't even tell what's happening. The camera's going all over the place. It's like, what the hell is going on? It's just completely messed up. But that's not even the end of it. I go after clearing out Steelwatch, I go to take on Gortash, and I try to do stealth. So basically, I try to go behind the back of the castle. There's a way to get into the back of this castle and not basically be detected. They detect me through a wall out of sight. There's nothing in the room to detect me. There's no sensors or anything. Okay? No one's in the room. There's no line of sight to any enemies. I know because I'm checking, and they just detect me anyway, and I have to do an extra fight for no reason. Great. I finally get to the Gortash fight. Okay? One of the most frustrating fights in the game for me because it's got 700 things going on. There's weapons on the walls. There's sensors up here that are giving Gortash some kind of a shield that reflects projectiles. There's all these extra factors happening. And it's really like the most complex thing. There's like stacked upon stacked upon stacked things happening all over the room. Eventually what happens is Karlach is throwing the spear around, which does area effect splash damage. Somehow it gets knocked out of her hand. How? I don't know. Because she's supposed to catch it. It's supposed to come back to her. Well, eventually it doesn't once, and it lands on the ground. Not really possible. Like, it's supposed to return to her, but the game glitched. Okay? So now it's on the ground. I go and I pick it up off the ground and throw it again. It completely disappears from the game. The legendary spear, for which my entire build of Karlach is built, her equipment, the things I've been giving her, like Tavern Brawler, okay? Endgame build, super good. Would allow me to actually beat Raphael. The weapon's gone from the game. Just missing. And I'm like, what? So I spent like a few minutes trying to find it, but I was already late. I stayed like 20 extra minutes on the stream to beat Gortash because people wanted to see it. It's just gone. It's nowhere. It's not on the floor. It's not near anyone. I'm doing the scan with X. Nothing. Never detected. So people are like, oh, reload the fight. Reload the fight. You want me to reload the 35, 40-minute boss fight and redo the most frustrating fight in the game for me so far because the game is glitched again. I mean, I'm not kidding. That's just some of the glitches. That's not even all of them. But that's like 5, 6, 7 major glitches that just keep happening today. And I'm like, now I get why through the entirety of the game, people have said that Act 3 is the least polished and has the most issues. They all just reared their ugly head at once today. They all appeared at once for me. It really frustrated me because I'm in an endgame push and I want to finish this game. And every turn, there's something else frustrating me today. I'm like, why is it like this? So I'm going to be honest. I really, really hope the finale of the game isn't like that. But at the same time, I don't know what to do with Karlach because she's useless now. She has all these abilities I built around this class of throwing the spear, and she doesn't have the spear anymore. It's just gone from the game. Disappeared magically. So I don't even know what to say or how to fix that. If anyone has any ideas after watching the videos today, they are live, let me know. I'm clueless as to what happened and why the spear is just completely missing from existence. Okay? Anyway, I did finish with the Gortash fight. That's where we ended. So tomorrow when we play, we'll pick it right from there. We'll try to figure this out. Okay? But basically tomorrow is endgame. Tomorrow we're going after the Elder Brain. In Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, great progress tonight. I actually started early and went right into the second optional challenge dungeon in Hawaii because we were already halfway through it last time and I wanted to finish it up. So we did. My characters leveled a bunch, actually maximized some jobs, swapped jobs, went, bought endgame weapons, leveled up the endgame weapons, got my party ready to go, got into the next part of the story. So we had to go back to District 5. We had this big dungeon underneath District 5, a big showdown again with the Barracuda leader played by Danny Trejo. And I thought that's it for the chapter. No, the chapter continues. Now you're on an epic boat ride, and there's all cool stuff that happens with some of the actual stuff that there was in the promotional materials for the game actually happens at this point. I was like, damn, some of the stuff they showed as promotional materials was like the end of the game, which is wild to think about. So finally, we're at the end of the game. Chapter 13 is about to end. No, there's a plot twist. Chapter 13 is not done. It continues, okay? But we made great progress tonight. And basically, our Hawaii team is in endgame form. They are ready to go to finish the game. They've got endgame weapons and equipment, and we're good to go there, okay? But now, I think after a little bit more, we're probably going to swap back to the Kasuga team, and now they're going to end up being kind of underleveled, and I'm wondering what we're going to have to do about that, okay? But anyway, it was great progress tonight. It was great fun. The stream was great, good stuff. You know, we're in position. Both of these games now, we're in position. I'm actually thinking, if you want to know my estimate, I think it's going to take us 2 streams to beat the actual endgame combat and content of Baldur's Gate 3. But I've heard that there's a big epilogue. It's like 2 hours that obviously is worth doing when you've invested this much time in the game. You want to do it. So probably it's going to be like 2 streams, like Tuesday, Wednesday, of trying to finish the combat and story, and then Friday, the epilogue, final goodbye to Baldur's Gate 3 stream. In Like a Dragon, I'm thinking tomorrow night we'll finish Chapter 13, head into Chapter 14, do some of Chapter 14. Maybe Wednesday night is get as far as we can in Chapter 14. If we need to grind or do any final side content, try to do it. and then maybe try to finish that game Friday night too. So there's actual strong potential. We could finish both Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth both on Friday. That would be pretty crazy fun, because then we can actually get into the new stuff over the weekend. Okay? So there you have it, folks. Great day of progress. I know people are just sitting here waiting. When the hell is Phil done with these games? We are almost freaking there. I hope that you will join me again tomorrow as we push forward. All right? And I thank you all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for chilling. Thanks for supporting. I'll see you in the morning for RPG Overload Finale Day 2. See you then. Have a good night. Peace out.